a lot of what you're talking about has been embraced in different places around the country, but seems more so in larger cities. Here we're talking about a multi-county region, and the surrounding counties are largely rural and agricultural. Is a lot of what you're saying an easier sell in a metropolitan area than in these rural areas? How is there a different approach in taking the same message to the county seats in the rural towns?
Well, there's two parts to that. This isn't a particularly small region in terms of population. I mean, you compare it to Salt Lake and Portland, they're all kind of comparable. They're not. It's not a giant difference. You know, how much of the suburbs are true suburbs versus large rural lot, we call them, you know, the 5-acre, 10-acre lot things. We did a lot of work in Minneapolis, St. Paul, where the rural lots were really a big issue, and it was a big lifestyle component. I think that you know, I don't think you can change the facts. I mean, the facts are the facts, and these are the facts, and you just have to present it to everybody and just say, well, not everybody's going to live on a rural estate for the rest of their lives. They may not afford it, they may not want it. And so, you know, I don't think the methodology changes. I think you have to be very careful, though, about how you describe it. One of the things that I find worst in this is the kind of misinterpretation, sometimes intentional misinterpretation of these facts. And so people will say, well, this is, you know, and I've gotten this so many times in so many communities, this is un-American, you know, this isn't who we are, you're stealing my freedom. I mean, I have people come to workshops in different places across the country claiming that this is a UN conspiracy. No, I'm not kidding. They call it Agenda 21. How many of you have heard of that? Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, you know, so there is this thing of being very thoughtful about not being vulnerable to intentional or unintentional misinterpretations. And I think that's the only way I could handle what you're talking about is you go out to those rural communities and they've heard that this smart growth stuff is communist and it's foreign. And you need to find a way to communicate it. You know, it is really as American as apple pie. I mean, the classic rural village is not very different than what we're advocating for in terms of compact growth. And, you know, us in the New Urbanist movement have been criticized up and down by the hip architectural establishment who finds that retro to hearken back to Elm Street and Main Street somehow touching each other. But on some fundamental social level, it's a deep need, I think. And, you know, dress it up in the fancy architecture, whatever you want. But kids should be able to walk freely from their home to a park or the school or the soda shop. I'm sorry. And then we can argue about whether or not that's retro or not.